Welcome back. Steve Price with you. We are sitting in for Peter now. Let's return to this war of words between Labor and Benjamin Netanyahu. Joining me now to discuss this, foreign editor at The Australian, Greg Sheridan. Greg, great to see you. The Home Affairs Minister, Tony Burke, I mentioned earlier that obviously he and Anthony Albanese didn't speak overnight. Anthony Albanese must have known that that letter from Netanyahu had been leaked to our colleague Sharry Markson. We know what was in it. Burke turns up at Radio National today. I'll play this to you. This is what he said on Radio National, which just threw another match on this blazing row between Australia and Israel. Have a listen.
Strength is not measured by how many people you can blow up or how many children you can leave hungry. Strength is much better measured by exactly what Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has done.
Well, that hasn't helped the debate, has it?
No, Steve. Well, look, it's great to be with you. I think it's important to get the context and the sequence of this right. So, it's no secret to anybody that I'm a person who has been very sympathetic to Israel over the years. I love and admire Jewish culture, and I think Israel is a liberal democracy in a sea of dictatorships. Although I'm very critical of the most recent stages of their campaign and their military campaign. I think the human cost, not to mention the political cost, is too high. I also think Benjamin Netanyahu was very ill-advised to issue that tweet or whatever it was. Prime ministers shouldn't communicate with each other that way, especially not of friendly countries. And, Netanyahu has done a lot of good things in his career. He's done a lot of bad things. I think that was a bad thing. Makes it very hard for friends of Israel in Australia and for Jewish Australians. Now, I am, however, very, very critical of the Albanese government on the substance of two entirely unrelated issues. One, the recognition of the State of Palestine, and two, their failure to respond to the anti-Semitism crisis in Australia. They are not an anti-Semitic government, but they haven't responded with gravity and seriousness.
They will say they have.
Yeah, and they're just not telling you the truth. One of the most infamous acts was Penny Wong when she finally went to Israel after the shocking massacre, the worst, most brutal, savage, sexual, sadistic terrorism we've ever seen, refused to go down to the kibbutzes where the massacres occurred just to express solidarity with the Jewish victims. But by far the worst minister has been Tony Burke, consistently terrible. Now, Steve, I think you're giving Anthony Albanese an unfair benefit of the doubt here. I would interpret it slightly differently. I think Albanese was right to respond in a measured way to Netanyahu. That was right. But my reading of it is that he's virtually sent Tony Burke out as an attack dog. And you can't really claim,
I hope you're not.
I'm trying to turn the volume down, I want everybody to be calm, and then have Tony Burke engaging in that kind of rhetoric, which can only fuel division. So Burke was so mealy-mouthed in response to the initial October 7 massacres. And one of his countless excuses was that he was concerned above all to maintain community cohesion. Because, as he said rightly, anything we do in this country will not have the slightest effect on the Middle East, and our priority has got to be to maintain community cohesion. Well, you're not contributing to maintaining community cohesion by engaging in that kind of rhetoric.
Well, you're suggesting that the Prime Minister's sitting above Wong and Burke and letting them go out and do the dirty work.
Yeah, so I have no information to that effect, Steve, but it just looks like that. If that's not the case, then they're an amazing...
Because I can't believe that after the letter became public and the Prime Minister's read it, that he wouldn't call in those closest to him, Wong and Burke, and say, righto, you're the Home Affairs Minister, you're the Foreign Minister, how are we going to react to this?
Absolutely.
And the conversation would have been, well, PM, you should say that. Surely they're not letting Tony Burke go and make that remark.
Well,
I trust your judgment, but I find it extraordinary.
So, Steve, it's only judgment. I'm not claiming to have any inside information.
No, neither of us do.
No inside information. But it seems to me, so either Richard Marles, so Burke should have made, Albanese should have made the relatively, downbeat, sensible statement that he made, and he deserves some credit for that. Then, if you wanted a more detailed explanation, it should have been probably the Foreign Minister, and if not her, then the Deputy Prime Minister, Richard Marles. Instead of which, they've taken out Burke, who has been very, very hostile to Israel for a very long time, and he has inflamed the situation. Now, either they're a very incompetent government and they didn't coordinate their response to an immensely sensitive issue, or they have engaged in a pretty wicked thing where they say, you know, the boss guy is sweet and seraphic and Buddha-like in his calmness, but we'll send out an attack dog to
I hope it's
up.
the first, but I'm not sure. You wrote today about the mixed messages about Ukraine after that Trump meeting, Putin and Zelensky. What's going to happen here, do we think?
Very hard to know, Steve. So Trump's summit with Putin, every message was that Putin gets the Donbass, Putin doesn't have to concede anything, that there will be no tariffs against Putin, and that all isolation of him is finished. Mind you, Trump having imposed wicked tariffs on India for having the temerity to trade with Russia. Then, a few days later, Trump has a summit with Zelensky and all the European leaders, and the message is absolutely the reverse. All of a sudden, the Americans are backing a security stabilisation force in Ukraine, and the territorial swaps are going to be very marginal. Now, this is the problem with Trump.
What a surprise. We can't work out what's
Can't
going
work
through
out.
his head.
Now, does he have a plan, or is this just chaotic innovation, situation by situation? Now, I would think, really, judging Putin on the basis of his past actions, when this was happening, he launched the most savage aerial attack he's so far launched on Ukraine. This allows him to avoid American extra sanctions and to just keep on with his vicious military campaign, and he can probably string this along. So Trump said there would be a Zelensky-Putin meeting quickly, but Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, says, oh, no, we've got to start at the level of experts and then work up to a Zelensky-Putin meeting. So is Putin, in fact, just playing them like a bunch of monkeys and just letting them run on? And Trump is kind of letting him get away with it.
But then he comes out, Donald Trump, and says, I can't let 7,000 people be killed a day. It's got to stop.
Well, if that's what he really means, fair enough. But he said a few weeks ago, if Putin doesn't sign up to a ceasefire, there will be the gravest consequences. We will impose the most severe secondary tariffs, blah, blah, blah. Putin didn't sign up to a ceasefire, but he gave Trump a moment of sort of faux triumph. And so Trump just forgot about all that and went on. Now, if you can predict what's going to happen, Steve, you're a better man than me.
I'd rather take your predictions, Greg.